start.
Long ago.
No. Okay, go.
Long ago. A gentleman married.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time, there was a gentleman who married for his second wife, the proudest and most beauty woman that everyone seen. She had 2 daughters of her own, who were indeed exactly like her in all things. The gentleman had also a young daughter of real goodness and sweetness of temper, which she took from her mother, who was the best creature in the world. The wedding was scarcely over when the mother's bad temper began to show itself. She could not bear the goodness of this young girl, because it made her own daughter appear the more odious. The stepmother gave her the meanest work in the house to do. She had to scrub the dishes, tables, act, and to scrub the floors and clean out the bedrooms. The poor girl had to sleep in the great, open wretched street bed, while her sister lay in 5 rooms with inland floors, open beds of the very newest fashion, and where they had looking glasses so large that they might see themselves at their furnace. The poor girl bore all patiently and dared not complain to her father, who would have scolded her if she had done so, for his wife governed him entirely. When she had done her work, she used to go into the chimney council and sit down among the children. Hence, she was called Cinderella, the younger sister of the 2, who was not so rude and uncivil as she either called her Cinderella. However, Cinderella, in spite of her mean appearance, was 100 times more handsome than her sisters, though they were always richly dressed. It happened that the king's son gave a ball and invited to it all persons of fashion. Our young mists were also invited, for they caught a very grand figure among the people of the countryside. They were highly delighted with the invitation and wonderfully busy in choosing the gowns and had dressed which made best become them. This made Cinderella's lot still harder, for it was she who erode her sisters' nights and painted their roofless. They talked all day long of things but how they should be dressed. For my part, said the elder, I will wear my razor velvet suit with French trimmings, and I, said the younger, shall wear my usual skirt, but then, to make amends for that, I will put on my cloth for ornamental and my diamond stomacher, which is far from being the most ordinary one in the world. They sent for the best hairdressers they could get to make up their hair in fashionable style, and bought patches for their cheeks. Cinderella was consulted in all these matters, for she had good taste. She advised them always for the best, and even offered her services to dress their hair. which they were very willing she should do. As she was doing this, they said to her, Cinderella, would you not be glad to go to the ball? Young ladies, she said, you only jeer at me. It is not for such as I am to go there. You are right, they replied. People would love to see a Cinderella at a ball. Anyone but Cinderella would have dressed their hair well, but she was good-natured and arranged it perfectly well. Then were almost 2 days without eating, so much were they transported with joy. They broke about 1,000 laces into lace themselves tight, that they might have a fun, slender shape, and they were counting naturally at their looking glass. At last the happy day came. They went to court, and Cinderella followed them with her eye as soon as she could, and when she had lost sight of them, she fell a-crying. Her grandmother, who saw her own tears, asked her what was the matter. I wish I could, but she could not finish for sobbing. Her grandmother, who was a fairy, said to her, you wish you could go to the ball, is it not so? Yes, said Cinderella, saying, well, said her godmother, be but a good girl, and I will see that you go. Then she took her into her chamber, and said to her, run into the garden and bring me a pumpkin. Cinderella went at once to gather the fatness she could get, and brought it to her grandmother, not being able to imagine how this pumpkin could help her to go to the ball. Her godmother scooped out all the inside of it, leaving nothing but the ring. Then she stroked it when he went, and she pumpkin was instantly turned into a fine grand coach. She then went to look into the mouse trap, where she found 6 mice, all alive. She ordered Cinderella to lift the trap door, when giving each mouse, as it went out, a little tap with her wand. It was that moment turned into a fine horse, and the 6 mice made a fine set of 6 horses of a beautiful mouse-colored dapple green. Be at a loss for a coachman, Cinderella said, I will go and see if there is not a rat in the rat trap. We may make a coachman of him. You are right, replied her grandmother. Go and look. Cinderella brought the rat trap to her, and in it there were 3 huge rats. The fairy chose the one which had the longest word, and having touched him with her wand, he was turned into a fat coachman with the finest moustache and whiskers, everything. After that, she said to her, go into the garden and you will find 6 lizards behind the watering pot. Bring them to me. She had no sooner done so than her grandmother turned them into 6 footmen, who keeping up immediately behind the coach, with their livers are trimmed with gold and silver, and they held on as if they had done nothing else their whole lives. The fairy then said to Cinderella, will you see her a carriage fit to go to the ball in, and you not pleased with it? Oh yes, she cried, but must I go as I am in these rags? Her grandmother simply touched her with her wand, and at the same moment her clothes were turned into clothes of blood and silver, all decked with jewels. This done, she gave her a pair of the prettiest glass slippers in the whole world. Being these tired. She got into the carriage. Her godmother commanded her above all things not to stay till after midnight, and telling her at the same time that if she stayed one moment longer, the coach would be a pumpkin again. Her horse mice, her coachman a rat, her footman lizards, and her clothes would become just as they were before. She promised her grandmother she would not fail to leave the ball before midnight. She drove away, scarce able to contain herself for joy. The king's son, who was told that the great princess, whom nobody knew, was come, ran out to receive her. He gave her his hand as she lighted from the coach and led her into the hall where the company were assembled. There was at once a profound silence. Everyone's left off dancing, and the violins caused to play. So attracted was everyone by the singular beautiful of the unknown newcomer. Nothing was then heard but a confused sound of voices. How beautiful she is! How beautiful she is! The king himself, old as he was, could not keep his eyes off her, and he told the queen under his breath that it was a long time since he had seen so beautiful and lovely a creature. All the ladies were busy starting her clothes and headdress, so that they might have theirs made next day after the same pattern, provided they could meet with such fine materials and able hands to make them. The king's son conducted her to the seat of honor, and afterwards took her out to dance with him. She danced so very gracefully that they all admired her more and more. A fine collection was surveyed, but the young prince ate not a morsel. So intently when he occupied with her, she went and sat down beside her sister, showing them 1,000 civilities, and gave them, among other things, part of the oranges and strawberries with which the prince had regaled her. This very much surprised them, for they had not presented to her. Cinderella heard the clock strike a quarter to 12. She at once made her to the company and hastened away as fast as she could. As soon as she got home, he ran to find her godmother, and after having thanked her, she said she much wished she might go to the ball the next day, because the king's son had asked her to do so, and she was eagerly tell her godmother all that happened at the ball. Her two sisters looked at the door. Cinderella opened it. "How long you have stayed?" said she. Young, rubbing her eyes and stretching herself as if she had been just awakened. She had not, however, had any desire to sleep since they went from home. "If you had been at the ball," said one of her sisters, "you would not have been tired with it. There came the 5th princess, the most beautiful even ever was seen with mortal eyes. She showed us 1,000 civilities and gave us oranges and citrus." Cinderella did not show any pleasure at this. Indeed, she asked them the name of the princesses, but they told her they did not know it, and the king's son was very much concerned and would give all the world to know who she was. At this, Cinderella smiling replied, "Was she then so very beautiful? How fortunate you have been! Could I not see her? Dear Miss Charlotte, do lend me your yellow suit of clothes which you wear every day." "To be sure," cried Miss Charlotte, "lend me clothes to such a darity Cinderella as art. I should be out of mind to do so." Cinderella indeed expected such an answer and was very glad of the refusal, for she would have been sadly troubled if her sister had lent her what she jestingly asked for. The next day the two sisters went to the ball, and so did Cinderella, but dressed more magnificently than before. The king's son was always by her side, and his pretty speeches to her never ceased. This by no means annoyed the young lady. Indeed, she quite forgot her godmother's order to her, so that he had heard the clock begin to strike 12. When she thought it neighbor as a deer, the prince followed, but could not overtake her. She left behind one of her glossy slippers, which the princess took up most carefully. She got home, but quite out of breath, without her carriage and in her old clothes, having nothing left her of all her finery but one of the little slippers, followed to the one she had dropped. She glanced at the place's gate where asked if they had not seen a princess go out, and they replied they had seen nobody go out but a young girl, very dressed, and who had more the air of a poor country girl than of a young lady. When the two sisters returned from the ball, Cinderella asked them if they had had a pleasant time, and if the fine lady had been there, then told her yes, but that she hurried away the moment it struck 12, and with so much haste that she dropped one of her little glass slippers, the prettiest in the world, which the king's son had taken up. Then said further that he had done nothing but look at her all the time, and that most certainly he was very much in love with the beautiful owner of the glass slipper. What they said was true, for a few days after the king's son caused it to be proclaimed by sound of trumpet that he would marry her whose foot this slipper would fit exactly. They began to try it on the princess, then on the duchesses, and then on all the lady of the court, but in vain. It was brought to the sister, who did all they possibly could to thrust of a foot into the slipper, but they could not succeed. Cinderella, who saw this and knew her slipper, said to them, laughing, "Let me see if it will not fit me." Her sisters burst out a laughing and began to batter her. The gentleman who was sent to try the slip looked earnestly at Cinderella, and finding her very handsome, said it was but just that she should try, and that he had orders to let every lady try it on. He obeyed Cinderella to sit down, and putting the slipper to her little foot, He found it went on very easily and fitted her as if it had been made of wax. The astonishment of her two sisters was great, but it was still greater when Cinderella pulled out of her pocket the other slipper and put it on her foot. Thereupon in came her godmother, who, having touched Cinderella's clothes with her wand, made them more magnificent than these she had worn before. And now her two sisters found her to be that beautiful lady they had seen at the ball. They threw themselves at her feet to beg pardon for all their ill treatment of her. Cinderella took them up, and as she embarrassed them, said that she forgave them with all her heart, and begged them to love her always. She was conducted to the young princess, dressed as she was. He thought her more charming than ever, and a few days after married her. Cinderella, who was as good as she was beautiful, gave her two sisters a home in the palace, and that very same day married them to great lords of the court.